Hi, I'm Stephan Kesting from grapplers.com. This is Rob Bernacki, and together we made an app about the guard and the bottom game. And today we're answering a few questions that we received about the app. So, Javi's got a question. How do I avoid neon balls when my opponent is passing my guard? I'm starting to think it's on purpose. I spent 3 days recovering from this. That sounds very painful, but I think it's a great opportunity to talk about neon balls, and it's also, a lot of people have problems with arm barring when they're applying an arm bar, getting their balls crushed.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, is this a real problem? Just get a bigger cup.
I would suggest that it might be a real problem for Javi, and that maybe everybody at your club doesn't like you, if it's happening that often. No, I'm sure you're a fine gentleman. That was a joke. The internet can't tell sometimes if I'm joking, I've noticed. But yeah, I mean, first off, if you are getting hit in the nuts when someone's passing your guard, it's likely you're dealing with less adept guard passers, because frankly, if I'm going through the middle of your guard, I'm generally trying to access the levers to your hips to give me more mechanical advantage to pass. So, like for instance, I used to get hit in the nuts years ago. I don't really get hit in the nuts ever anymore when I'm dealing with anybody with any experience when they're passing. That's extremely rare. So I would say this is an exception. As far as dealing with it, the style of guard you play, like if we just want to address his question specifically, how does he not get hit in the nuts while playing guard? Is, if you're not playing guard on your back like this, you're not going to be dealing with people coming through the middle. If you're playing a seated butterfly guard, if you're on your knees, if you're moving immediately to like a on your side style half guard, you're not really going to be dealing with the target of opportunity being right in the center. So if we want a technical answer for that, don't play guard like this, and you should avoid it.
Yeah, we're assuming that it's probably some variation of knee cut that's being a problem.
Yeah, I mean, unless somebody is just straight up going double unders and headbutting him in the balls, I don't see how he's going to be dealing with that problem. So,
but people knee cut or try to knee cut you. So why aren't you getting your ball smashed when they're trying to do some variation
of this? Yeah, exactly. Well, as you can see, like you're trying to put your weight onto my chest or onto the ground. So generally, you're avoiding the contact with my groin. Yeah. If I need to, again, like I said, this is an inexperienced partner problem, I think largely, or an hostile club environment problem. But if I want to prevent, let's say again, I'm dealing with a beginner who is constantly driving the knee forward, you're just going to have to frame out with this hand. And I'm going to bring my rear hook here as you're coming forward. I'm going to bring it in behind, basically like a De La Riva hook, to create a frame to redirect you. And then we're going to reset our guard and play. This is a great setup for like omoplatas and things like that. But yeah, it can be as simple as, especially if you've already got this grip and I'm not able to like effectively grip break at this point, and I feel your knee coming in, I'm going to bring my hook in and just frame to redirect you. So I'm accessing this lever, and then as I push, I turn your knee out, then I could go back to like regular De La Riva guard or attack the omoplata.
And that's not a bad thing to do in any case when balls or no balls.
Balls or no balls, exactly.
The only other way that I was thinking that would be common to get hit in the balls when you're playing guard is if you had like a double bicep spider type thing. And I was
stepping.
Yeah, trying to stomp this free. And
thank you for demonstrating that the proper way. Yeah, I mean, so again, the issue here and the way you would defend this is as soon as somebody raises their leg, you're going to have to straighten that one out to change the balance. So right now, your balance is distributed in such a way that you're able to put weight on one leg and lift your leg up exactly. As long as I'm trying to hold that, that's what makes this sort of grip break effective. As soon as you raise your leg, I'm switching the angle, and that angle switch is going to, notice it forced you to put your foot back down to reclaim your base.
Right. So perhaps that's another level of answer is don't let the guy rest long enough to get his guard pass off the ground.
I mean, and that is probably the best answer to anything like this. Just, I think there's
Sweep them, get to the top.
Yeah,
hit with the balls.
There is a pretty highly viewed video by Draculino about guys grabbing your balls in a self-defense situation. And yeah, the presumption is that I'm going to sit there in my guard and do nothing while you have at my twig and berries, which is not the way I want to spend my time with a guy. So I'm going to, when I'm playing guard, always be constantly messing with your base, with your posture and your structure, which we discussed in the app, is that you're in the maintenance phase of guard. You should be constantly working to keep your opponent's alignment out of whack. Otherwise, you are kind of vulnerable to whatever they're going to try to do. The guard is not a place for rest. It's a place for activity.
Now, what about the other classic question that you get a lot probably, and I know I get a lot, which is about the old crushing your balls when you're doing an arm bar?
Yeah, so I mean, I think that's again, to a certain degree, a technical problem, which is a lot of people do the arm bar like this, where they press off the chest, and as they kind of fall back, they catch their nuts, which I managed to artfully just do. If you're performing the arm bar in more of a, I don't want to say more technical, but it's certainly more deliberate, more controlled fashion, because if I jump into a submission while relinquishing control, I'm kind of breaking the tenets of some of the concepts that we rely on at my academy, that we certainly proposed in the app, which is the idea that every submission is a position that I should be able to control entirely throughout. If at some point you have an opportunity to just get out, it's not a very high percentage submission. So if I move into the S mount here, the placement of my hip close to your armpit prevents any testicular contact, as I switch here like this. All right, but if I'm jumping off, there's always that opportunity, because I'm dangling, that your tricep hits me in the boys. So I would recommend getting very good at the S mount armbar and avoiding any separation. The separation is what creates the opportunity for you to get hit in the nuts. So should I go through the details?
Sure.
Yeah. So with the S mount armbar, let's start with the presumption that somebody's going to be elbows closed, and being this guy, the sub-only guy who thinks he's being more combatively effective. I'm going to first look to break posture and structure to attack his arm. I'm not going to necessarily be able to slide my hips up, because if somebody's got strong lats, there's no way that I can overcome this frame and full engagement of his lats with just my hip motion. So my preferred method for getting to this is to break posture here while simultaneously, let's just turn a little bit, while simultaneously setting frames here against his hips. If I go to push up, he can always push me back down because I have no counterpoint. So if I get my feet here and start to break posture, I can lean against the lever to his shoulder and slide my knee up while turning into the S mount. I'm going to go live toes here. I'm curling this heel in, so I'm accessing the structure of his limbs. Now here, he's going to be defending his arm likely with the kind of rear naked choke grip. So a really great thing to do is to first separate this arm and put it behind your back like you're doing an omoplata, and then come to the arm bar. What I teach in my academy is to put the shin over top and try to finish here with control, and only then, once you can do that, should you sit back and finish the arm bar the rest of the way.
And essentially your point is get your hips closer to his shoulder and keep them close to the shoulder the whole time.
Exactly.
It's not usually people complaining about their shoulder smashing in, the opponent's shoulder smashing in their balls. It's the tricep or the elbow.
Exactly.
That means it's a good sign that you're just not tight enough on the arm.
Yeah, or just, wear a cup.
And do the arm bar badly.
That.